ध्यायेत् शारदचन्द्रसुन्दरमुखम् ताम्रारविन्देक्षणम् भक्ताभीष्टवराभयप्रदकरम् कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणेश्वरं गुरुवरं योगासनाभ्यासितं ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामज्जतव पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. In this series of talk, we have been blessed to partake. We have been meditating on the spiritual stories as told by Ramana Maharshi. This is a wonderful book which has been published by Ramana Ashram, Tiruvannamalai, where they have collected all the spiritual stories as narrated by Bhagavan. And we have been reading this story and meditating on it as part of the sadhana, as part of the journey towards the truth. And it has been a wonderful blessing, and because it gives immense opportunity for us also, for me also, to look into these stories, contemplate on its deep meaning. And in a way, when we do that, we can very clearly see the grace of the Master clarifying a lot of things. And when Vaniji asked me what is going to be the topic of this this particular talk, and I've been really looking at the series, the stories, and these two are very simple, short stories. Not one is one page, another is hardly one. Both are almost one page. So, and I was wondering, okay, this is a small topic, and as I read through those stories, Bhagavan talked about how the taboos, the restrictions, or the imaginations as sadhakas that we get into is a big challenge in recognizing something which is very simple. Recognizing what? The truth, which is very simple, very direct, very much available. So I thought that though the stories are simple, that we will meditate on those aspects as we go through the story. And it is a fantastic blessing where we oneself gets to know the various aspects of one's own chitta, where it gets entangled with many things. And I'll try to present some of those things that either I have gone through or been made to be recognized by Master's abundant grace. Because both going through those things or making us recognize it is equally grace. Many times we may have to go through certain things to recognize, and it may be required. Bhagavan calls it that to remove the dirt out of the cloth, the washerman has no animosity with the cloth, but his job is to remove the dirt. So he has to beat it up against the stone. Of course, the cloth may find, why is myself being treated so badly? But the whole purpose of the journey, or the whole purpose, is to clean the cloth of the dirt. So in similar ways, as sadhakas, we all go through many challenges in this journey. Sometimes we feel, do I deserve this? But it is all for the cleaning of the cloth. So let's look at the first story. The title of the story is given as Peace is the Sole Criterion. I repeat again, peace is the sole criterion. Since the story is small, I rather read out. Please bear with me. When asked about the characteristics of a Gnani, Bhagavan said, they are described in books such as the Bhagavad Gita. But we must bear in mind that the Gnani state is one which transcends the mind. It cannot be described by the mind. Only silence can correctly describe this state and its characteristics. Silence is more effective than speech. From silence came the ego, from the ego came thought, and from thought came speech. So if speech is effective, how much more effective must be its original source? Then in this connection, Sri Bhagavan related the following story. Tatvaraya composed a bharani, a kind of poetic composition in Tamil, in honor of his guru Swarupananda, and conveyed an assembly of learned pandits to hear the work and assess its values. The pandits raised the objection that a bharani was only composed in honor of great heroes capable of killing 1,000 elephants, and that it was not in order to compose such a work in honor of an aesthetic. Thereupon the author said, let us all go to my guru and we shall have this matter settled there. They went to the guru, and after all had taken their seats, the author told his guru the purpose of their coming there. The guru sat silent, and all the others also remained in mauna. The whole day passed. Night came, and some more days and nights. And yet all sat there silently, no thought at all occurring to any of them, and nobody asked why they had come there. After 3 or 4 days like this, the guru moved his mind a bit, and thereupon the assembly regained their thought activity. They then declared, conquering 1,000 elephants is nothing compared to the Guru's power to conquer the rutting elephant of all our egos put together. So certainly he deserves the bharani in his honor. We hear a similar voice. How does a gnani function? How does a gnani work? In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna also puts a similar question to Krishna. So when we come to this realm of truth, or in the search of truth, and because we have been so habituated to know things objectively, we know everything, we know a book by reading it. We say that we know, we have read it. We know, we recognize it, a plant or a flower, because we know it. So we have objectively known everything to be what it is. And when we come to the path of truth, so we obviously look for a similar objective knowledge of it, so that we can one day claim, like how I say I know what rose is, or I know what a mobile is, or what I know what America is. In a similar way, I can claim I know what truth is. That is the main objective, in which even when we embark on this journey of knowing the truth, that we do. But in sometimes the curiosity takes over. If we know somebody who has known the truth, like Bhagavan in this case, or a guru, or Krishna, we want him to describe it in a way that our mind can understand, and create a framework, create an imaginary thing to say this is what it is, or this is how it will be. So when the curiosity takes over, we put this question, and it is, as we see historically, the human beings are doing this whenever we have come across a Mahapurusha. How does a Gnani, what are the characteristics of a Gnani? This is a common question we like to put. And Bhagavan says, as we are discussing, that it has been very well described in Bhagavad Gita, but he goes on to clarify that it is beyond the comprehension of the mind. Very important. This statement is a very important thing. The journey of all of us, whenever we want to do any sadhana, whether it is nama japa, whether it is puja, or whether it is yoga, or whether it is the gnana marga or the bhakti marga, whichever it is, we really want to measure it through the mind. We want to say that I have done so much and so much, or I want to compare myself with something with others have done, and see where I am in this relative journey towards the truth. This is the characteristics of the mind, but those characteristics are not at all there in Gnani, says Bhagavan. That means a Gnani, according to Bhagavan here, does everything in the no mind state. And for a sadhaka, or a person who is functioning in the world, he cannot even imagine himself or herself to function without the mind. How can we ever function without the mind? That's how it will be. So Bhagavan is very beautifully saying, we may read Bhagavad Gita, we may understand, I may describe to you how a Gnani functions, but it will all be listened with a mind, and a framework will be created. But let me tell you very clearly upfront, that there can be no such mental framework that can be imagined about how a Gnani works, or his characteristics is. He is beyond the mind. And it becomes very, very challenging for us to even comprehend something, that there could be some done meaningfully in this world without mind. So Bhagavan goes on to say that silence is more, and he gives a very beautiful description from the silence how everything happens. Silence rises the ego, and from the ego rises the thought, and from that comes the speech, because the thought has to be expressed, and that is what we are trying to do now. So that is the way that it functions. Okay, if I am not speaking, then how does it work? The speech that is heard becomes a thought for me. I will logically think what Dileep is saying is right or wrong, whether it is close to what I have understood till now. So it becomes a thought. I may not be speaking, but still when I hear from the ears, it forms in a form of a thought, and then the thought will be judged by the ego, and the ego may claim that is right or wrong based on its previous database of information. But the ego stops there. It only stops at the judgment. That's why Bhagavan is saying the truth is even beyond it. So we have to transcend that thing. But the most common area that we get all stuck is at that ego and that judgment of being right or wrong of what I am listening, or judgment of right or wrong about what I am speaking, with relative to my past experience, with relative to something I might have read, even in this scenario, what I might have read in Bhagavad Gita. Is he telling in line with what Krishna said? So this is how the ego works, but Gnani is not stuck in that framework, says Bhagavan here. That means what Bhagavan is saying is, there is some truth here and now. If we talk about truth, it has to be always present, isn't it? It cannot be something that we do after some, it cannot be something that we will know after doing something or after knowing something. If something is said to be truth, it should be present at all times. And it should not go through any changes. It cannot be one truth in the morning, some other truth in the afternoon, and in some other way in the evening. It has to be one constant thing, ever present, ever available to everybody, irrespective of their ability to know it or not know it. It should be present. The sky, for example, if we take, it is present. I may not look at it, I may not pay attention to it, I may not even contemplate about it, but I may live in it, yet I may not pay anything. I may take it for granted, but the sky is. In a similar way, Bhagavan is trying to tell us that the silence, the truth is, and from it all other things have arisen and is functioning. Whether I am listening or whether I am speaking, that silence at the substratum is. And I might have taken it for granted. And that is the problem with which we are all dealing with. We are taking that natural truth which is present in equally to be for granted, and we are overwhelmed with our capacity to know, with our capacity to understand through the mind, through the intellect, through the ego, through our senses. So this is where we are stuck. This is the taboo. That is the ajnana. Though there is jnana alone, which is there at the substratum, we are holding on to limited ways of understanding it. Limited way because the mind is limited, the intellect is limited, the ego itself is limited from which all these things rise. Bhagavan says, if you look at your own day-to-day experience, in the deep sleep, there was no identification as being an individual, with which we are right now dealing with, which is very much a reality for us when we in this conversation is going on. And it is looking very real, this conversation, whether I am speaking or whether I am listening. And I am very real that I am an individual by name Dileep, by this form, and similarly with all of you. This name and this form is completely absent in the deep sleep every day. I have no identification with this name, I have no identification with this form, and no identification with its intellect, with its knowledge bank, with its ability, or with its assets that it has accumulated. None of it's there in the deep sleep, but I am there to recognize its absence, because I can, when I talk about deep sleep, I know that there was absence of all of this, and I know it. That is the actual experience. So even when the mind says, I don't know, Bhagavan says, we know that we don't know. The actual experience is knowledge. Never have we been ignorant at all. Such is the natural truth of all of us. But the thought of I don't know takes over us. It is like at this depth we can probably see how the snake takes over the rope. The snake looks very real. I don't know thought becomes very real for us. So real that we want to find some solution to know. But we forget the natural experience that is there behind, which is that I know that I don't know. That simple, natural experience, which is at the substratum, we are not paying attention. We are so carried away by this superficial meaning-making machine called mind or the ego. This is where Bhagavan is trying to bring our attention. And therefore, he is also saying, with that approach, if you read Bhagavad Gita, if you read any spiritual book, again, since you have used the same entity called the ego to read, and you have used the same entity to know, there is a chance that you will again create a framework. That means you will create a framework of the truth. Truth must be within this area, within this boundary. So, tasmat jagrata jagrata. He is just trying to say that no, that is not how a truth can be known. So that is why I don't want to explain to you how a gnani's characteristics is. And I am trying to explain it. And how false is this approach is what Bhagavan is trying to say. Because anything I may describe has the potential chances that as a listener or even as a sayer, I may put a boundary mentally around it. But Bhagavan has been so sweet even while expressing it that don't put such boundary, because the truth is beyond that boundaries, beyond the mind. So he goes on to talk about the Tatvaraya story, where the Tatvaraya, a devotee or a disciple of Swami Swarupananda, the Guru, has written a Bharani, a meter in which he has written, I made a composition describing the greatness of his Guru. And having composed it, he wanted it to be read by the Pandits. And the Pandits read it. And they said that the Bharani meter cannot be used for a sadhu. It has to be used for a soldier or a warrior who would have killed 1,000 elephants. That means he should be so strong, a person, so capable a person, that whether it is mentally, intellectually, physically, that it should be given, attributed to such a person, and it cannot be given to a sadhu. So, of course, Tattvaraya didn't want to argue with them, because it is, again, you are fighting in the realm of the mind, trying to convince what is right and what is wrong. And this is another great taboo of all of us as sadhakas. See, the same truth we can speak for hours and convince that there is nothing called truth at all. What is only this body, mind, intellect. There is no such thing called truth. We can convincefully talk about it and make anybody feel yes, because we are understanding with a mental framework, you see. So if the framework is created in such a beautiful way and presented in such a beautiful way for all of us, we may draw a conclusion. We may all become Nastikas. No, there is no truth at all. Yes, this person, what he spoke is all logic, all perfect. And I can convince you or somebody can convince you totally to believe that there is no such thing called truth. This is one single life that we have, and enjoy it to its core. And even in this life is shredding away slowly and steadily. The eyes, the nose, the strength, everything is becoming less and less day after day. So when it is at its peak, or whatever it is, make the best use of it. Go fly to a place, enjoy all your senses can do. We can convince somebody to that degree so that you can get up and feel that is the framework. That is what the truth is. And the same person, if he is very intellectual enough and is very capable enough, can present that all of this is all null and void. What is the truth, and it is naturally available to all of us. Both can be presented, and the mind can very beautifully develop a framework either way. Now, tell me, where is the listening happening? Where is the learning happening? We say that the learning is given by somebody. No, the learning is happening within us. And Nandakumarji used to say the Ekalavya story is a wonderful example of it. There is no guru teaching him directly, but his intent to learn made him learn the archery so well, so that he became equal or even perhaps much better than Arjuna. So the learning is happening within us. But when we are exposing ourselves to this art of learning through these senses, this danger is there. This danger of putting a right framework or putting a wrong framework is there. And not only that we put this right framework and wrong framework is an issue, we will get stuck in that framework. We will get stuck to believe ourselves that this is all the truth is, and anybody who says beyond this is all wrong. That is the taboo that we are dealing with when we try to know from the mind, the intellect, and the senses. And Bhagavan, through Tattvaraya, at this juncture, is revealing that why the Tattvaraya did not want to have an argument with the fellow Pandits to prove why he has chosen the Bharani meter. and why he has described his guru like that. That means when we are going in the path, we need not have to, we often do it to convince somebody else. Maybe we are going in the Gnana Marga. You may want to convince somebody else who is going in the Bhakti Marga why Bhakti Marga is all flaws and Gnana Marga is the straight Shuka Marga. Or otherwise, we have this kind of arguments and waste a lot of time in trying to win an argument rather than focus on the journey to reach the truth, which is naturally present. If truth is naturally present, it is available here and now. So I have to be watchful whether I am with the truth or here and now I am with something else. That something else may be the framework, something else may be the rights and wrongs, that something else may be something the mind is defining outside as objective. What am I getting carried away in this golden moment, in this golden opportunity to be with the truth or to move away with the truth, from the truth? That is the $1 billion question. Or we can, if billion has become too little, that's the $1 trillion question for all of us. Thereupon, Bhagavan is saying, he took, Tatvaraya took them all to the gurus, to his guru, and they all sat down, and the guru was in silence. Everybody was in silence. Days went, and nobody recognized how much time passed away in that silence. And when the guru moved his mind, everybody recognized the very purpose that they had come. They had come there to judge whether that guru is capable of the Bharani meter, like a warrior. And they were convinced that he is much, much, much greater than a warrior. Because without any war, without any harm, he had taken all of them, all of their ego, which is like a mad elephant. Bhagavan says actually that this mad elephant will keep on putting its trunk to anything and everything that it sees. And we know that in this journey that we have made, we know something falls into our eyes, it runs. And more than anything today, the mobile that we are carrying is such a fantastic thing that we want to keep catching with our trunk. The ego wants to keep on holding it. Lose that every moment, that opportunity that we can be with the truth to be with something very imaginary, very juicy, which is very momentary, which I will not even remember tomorrow what time, what video I saw at this point in time. But that is what my ego is behind. So that ego elephant, which is trying to grab something, and today mobile is such a wonderful thing for it to grab because it can feed exactly what it is looking for. Unlike the older times where it probably couldn't. But to make that ego elephant become silent is definitely, and the collective ego elephant of thousands of people is definitely worth the Bharani shloka. So that is what we are looking at when we turn to the truth. Since the truth is available here and now, no matter what our ego is bloated with, it may be bloated with holding on to mobile or holding on to many materialistic things or cherishing many arguments. It may be stuck in a framework. It doesn't matter what it is indulging itself at every moment. But at the same time, there is this opportunity, Bhagavan is saying, if you take that ego to the source, here and now, that silence can overwhelm it. Bhagavan says to Arunachala, that silence is Kabalita Ghana Vishwarupa. That silence can kabalify or swallow this Ghana Vishwarupa, this solid Vishwarupa which looks very, 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 very real. That pure awareness, that pure self of us which is available, can simply swallow it completely. And if you have experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi during our sadhana, we can know how whole the mind, body, everything went away. Forget Nirvikalpa Samadhi. God has been so gracious to give us the deep sleep. Every day, this name, form, this mobile, everything is, which is so solid, which we think that it is not possible to deal with. If you look at the present Iran-Iraq war, those missiles that we fire, with all looks very solid, all of them are simply kabbalified, simply absorbed, and silence alone remains. Such is the magnitude of that truth. Whatever we are struggling, thinking it's all real, whether it is pain, fever, body pain, financial challenges, mental challenges, whatever this ego is holding on and making us go through trouble, this silence which is ever present, which is in the deep sleep, and in fact, when we are troubled, many doctors give tablets like Restil so that we can get into that sleep, forget that whole trouble for a few hours. Such is that truth, that it can swallow this Ghana Vishwarupa, this solid world which looks very, very solid. It simply swallows and remains by itself. Such is the power of the silence. That's why Bhagavan is saying, peace is the sole criterion. Let's first understand this. The peace that the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan, or any Gnani for that matter, who is saying, come to this peace, is giving the solution for all the imaginary problems or the solid problem we think that we are unable to get over. They are giving the most solid solution. They are saying, excuse me, so peace is that such a sole criterion, and it is beyond mind, beyond intellectual arguments. It is available to all equally. And that is the natural truth of all of us here and now. And every moment, because that is the only truth. Otherwise, past is something that we can't go and do anything. We can bring it into our memory and think about it, but we can't go back in reality to the past. Future also, we are uncertain. We don't know. So the only opportunity lies in this moment. And in this moment, am I outward turned, looking for some objective experience which is all temporary, which I may not remember, which may be of no aid to me? I may not remember it tomorrow. Or is that an opportunity to recognize the peace which is our own nature, so that no matter what Adi Bhautika, Adi Dhaivika challenges that may come to the body and the mind, we know, we find out that truth spot in within us, to which we can retire very, very peacefully, so that whatever has come, comes and goes like a cloud appearing in front of a sun. Yeah, it may temporarily appear to be covering the sun, and very much the sun knows the cloud cannot cover it. In a similar fashion, if we get back to our nature here and now, all this Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Prakritika, whatever may be coming, we can deal with them from that center of peace. So every moment is an opportunity. So that is why the spiritual sadhana is important, and the taboo is the ego and the mind and the intellect is trying to put stories that it is all outward, it's all outward, it's all in this argument, it's all in this convincing. But here we have the blessings of Bhagavan trying to say, don't fall for that framework, don't fall for that imagination. You cannot, the truth is not in the books, the truth is not in any understanding, the truth is not in proving somebody right or wrong. It is you yourself, and you are experiencing it every day, day in and out, day out in deep sleep. And it is possible to consciously get back to that truth here and now, instead of consciously moving outward towards objective thing. This is the wonderful story, and I hope I have 10 minutes to finish the second story. Though it's a small story, a lot of beautiful things are imbibed in it. The second story is about the garlic plant. This is a very beautiful story. Bhagavan says there was a monthly journal called Grihalakshmi that was coming to the ashramam, Ramanashramam, and he looked at it laughingly and handed over the journal to Suri Nagamma and said, this journal is talking about the greatness of garlic, and please read it. And Suri Nagamma took the article. She made chutney. He says that it has recipe on how to make chutney and pickles. And she took it, and when the next day when she came back, Bhagavan asked, did she read the article? And he said that people say it is very good for health. Really, it is so. Bhagavan says, yes, garlic is really good for health. It cures rheumatism. Rheumatism is degenerative diseases. If we all have body, we know from childhood to becoming old and gone, it goes to degenerative process. And he says it's a very good cure for rheumatism and gives strength to the body. For children, it is like amrita. Garlic is also known as amrit, says Bhagavan. Then one of the devotee asked Bhagavan, how come that it got the name amrit? Then Bhagavan starts to tell that how the devas and the rakshasas churned the ocean, then how the amrit came, and then how the Vishnu appeared as Mohini and decided to distribute the amrit to everybody. And in the process, she made all the devatas sit in one side, the Danavas to sit on another side. And when she started distributing to the devatas, somehow the Danavas, one of the Danavas felt that by the time their turn comes, the amrit may be all over. So he decided to jump from the Danava side and go and sit in the Devata side, and without the notice of Mahavishnu, who was in the form of Mohini. And Mohini served the Amrita, and as he was about to have it, Mahavishnu recognized the game this Rakshasa had played. So he threw that ladle which he was using to serve, which became, Bhagavan says, became the Vishnu Chakra, the chakra, and it went and it, Sudarshana Chakra, and it went and cut the head of the Danava. And because the Amrit was already taken by the mouth, by the time, the head remained intact and the body fell down. And when the body fell down, the Amrita which was going into the body, also a drop of it fell down on the earth. and that became the garlic, and therefore the name Amrit comes to garlic, says Bhagavan. That's how the name Amrit came to garlic. It is very good for the body, and because it had the touch of the demon, it also has the tamasic quality, which when eaten affects the mind. Hence, it is forbidden for sadhakas, says Bhagavan. So, this story again is the same thing. The truth is very much present for all of us. The Amrit is present for all of us. And the Danava is the ego who wants to claim that he has known it, he has owned it. He has, like any other thing, he knows and he owns, and he claims that he is the one who knows everything in this body. Though he himself goes completely absent in deep sleep, there is no I identity at all. But whenever the activities are happening, and though by the virtue of the self, the virtue of the pure consciousness that we know everything, but this guy rises and claims, whether it is in dream, whether it is in the waking, that he is the one who knows. He is the one who is making the decision. That is the Danava. And that Danava, even while moving towards Amrit, that means moving towards the truth, wants to make that claim that it is because of his sadhana or her sadhana that the truth was known. This is the danger. And many times, the way we can also look at this story is that many times we really don't want the natural journey towards the truth to happen. Often we decide, no, let me get out of this samsara. Let me get out of this whatever God-given journey that I have, and let me embark on a new journey. Let me become a sannyasi. Let me go to a forest. Let me go and do something in some remote corner. Renounce the whole of this world. What is really required is to renounce that person who is making all this statement. But because we give so much of importance to that ego which is making this statement, we are ready to renounce the world like the Danava, move from, instead of waiting for our Amrita period to come, by renouncing this, we want to go and stand in the line and grab that Amrit here and now. Very well, if we do so, we may get a taste of that truth in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But the ego, because we are given so much importance to the ego, he may say, now I have understood the no truth. I have conquered the truth. We know many people fall for it. That's a simple experience of it. They may claim that they have raised to various spiritual levels by an experience of the Nirvikalpa Samadhi or something like that. What Bhagavan is asking us to do, or what the Upanishads and all the gurus are asking us to do, is to completely renounce this ego and recognize the truth which is there. And deep sleep is such a great example for us. Where is there anybody rising and claiming that there is no ego, no body, no world, nothing? In fact, the sleep is so peaceful and joyous for us. If we are to go and catch a train at 5:30 and we accidentally wake up at 4 o'clock in that anxiety, and we still know that I have time till 5:30 to sleep, we are so joyous. We are so happy to get back to that state of where there is nobody rising and claiming. So it is very important to recognize the journey here towards the Amrit, towards the truth which is naturally available to us, is not through any intellectual understanding, not through moving away from what God has already blessed us. When if we take ourselves to be an intellectual person, Bhagavan says, Isha Jivayor Veshadhi Vida. The difference between the God and the Jiva is in Vesha and in Dhi. Vesha is body. My body is only 6 feet or 5'10", this long, this tall, this limit. For Ishvara, the whole universe is his body. My intellect is whatever I have read and gathered. That is my limitation of my intellect. For Ishvara, he is a Sarvagna. Everything he knows. So we have to ask this question: who is a better judge of what is right for me? Whether my limited knowledge that I have read renouncing is everything right and I should therefore renounce, or whether Ishvara, who has already knows what is good for me, and not only me, for everybody, and has wonderfully placed everybody where they have to be placed, as father, as mother, as student, or as sadhaka, or whatever it is, and slowly and steadily taking us towards that universal truth. Who is a better judge? Should we jump this path like the Asura and be caught in the wrongdoing, or have lot of faith in the Lord who has created and keep on practicing what we have been blessed to do? Get back to the truth. Get back to the truth. Yes, my vasanas may pull me out, but again and again, if I keep repeatedly diving back to the truth will be given. And often we forget. My friend Rangan and myself were there for the last 2-3 days. He works in Mata Amritanandamayi ashram in Kerala, and he was saying how mother there keeps saying the biggest thing about a guru is to clean the student, prepare him for the truth. It is like the truth has to be contained in a vessel. If you say the milk has to be poured into a vessel, the person has to ensure that there is nothing sticking to the vessel which will spoil the milk. So the guru's job is to remove and clean the vessel so that the milk will not get spoiled. In a similar way, the guru prepares the child, the student, is what she used to say. It's very important. What we are being given is Amrit. Therefore, nothing should spoil it. So to make us clean is something very, very important, and therefore it takes time. And Bhagavan also gives a similar story that one day there is a big lake called Samudra Eri in Tiruvannamalai. It seems the king there built it to show his wife how big a Samudra is. And incidentally, it became full and it was overflowing. And Bhagavan said, come, let us all go for a picnic there to see how the water is overflowing from the lake. And we know the bund is put across the lake, and the other side of the bund, we all have the farmland where there are many plants and trees cultivated, many types of them. Bhagavan asked some of his devotees, we all know water is good for the plant, isn't it? They all said, yes, sir. Water is very much important for the plant. But what happens if this bund breaks and all the water rushes into the farmland? They said all the plants will die, get washed out. So Bhagavan, I believe, said, it is in a similar way. The truth is there with the master. If he gives all at once, it cannot be handled. The plant cannot take it. So slowly and steadily, the truth has to be given so that we transcend this wrong habit of holding on to the mind and intellect that we are. So it is important for us to recognize this, that whatever Ishvara has bestowed us, is distributing that Amrita to us, we should trust with him, have trust with him even in our sadhana. We should not take any hasty decision based on what we have read or anything. Everything has to come naturally to us because the truth is also natural. So, having said that, effort has to be put with full faith in the grace, full faith in the Master, full faith in the Ishvara. I'm not denying putting the effort, but the faith is equally important. As Krishna says, karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Without looking for result, with full assurance that the Ishvara will take care of the result, my effort alone matters. Even in the spiritual sadhana, we should keep on putting our effort with full faith. So this is what I thought of explaining as the taboos and areas that as sadhakas we sometimes oversee, and we think that truth is somewhere else, far away, but it is very much given to all of us equally at every moment, which is the substratum of our waking, dream, and sleep. It is there, here and now. Only thing at every moment is an opportunity to turn towards it. Or every moment we may get carried away by the mind. And when we get carried away by the mind, we ask all these questions. What are the characteristics of a gnani? What should I do to get the truth immediately? But if we let go all those thoughts and inquire to whom is this, the answer will be for me. And therefore, when I inquire who am I and try to find the source of the I, we get back to the substratum, the truth, the pure being consciousness shining as I am, I am, I am. That is the reality, my own existence and my own awareness, and that peace which is so natural in it is the reality which is taken for granted. And we are holding on to unnecessary thoughts, ideas, and getting carried away by them. So every moment is an opportunity to get back to the truth, says Bhagavan. I offer this talk to the lotus feet of the Master and conclude it. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.